Our understanding of disease and new treatment options often come from the results of research that has been conducted on animals. Recently, however, scientific reports have questioned the way animal research is performed and reported. Although the public may not be aware of it, tests being performed on animals in laboratories benefit humans greatly. Without animal testing, we would not have half of the medical breakthroughs or advancements that we have today. The use of animals in laboratories for research purposes should be allowed, but with close watch by the Food and Drug Administration or the U.S. Department of Agriculture to ensure the health and safety of the animals being tested on. According to the California Biomedical Research Association, every medical breakthrough from the past 100 years has stemmed from animal testing. The discovery of insulin can be granted to a study done on dogs, which included having their pancreas removed. This discovery was critical for saving the lives of those diagnosed with diabetes. The polio vaccine was created by tests done on animals and has decreased the number of cases from 350,000 to 223 in just 24 years. Tests performed on animals in labs has also helped humans advance in their studies on breast cancer, brain injuries, leukemia, multiple sclerosis, and much more. The director of the Animal Research Facility at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, Chris Abbe, states that we wouldn't have a vaccine for hepatitis B without chimpanzees. He also believes that chimpanzees are our best bet for finding a vaccine for hepatitis C. If the use of animals in the labs were to be deemed illegal, then vaccines like hepatitis C would never have a chance at being created to save thousands of lives. In today's world, it is very difficult to do things without breaking the law or being judged by others. So another reason animal testing helps us slip by this is when ethical problems arise if human subjects were to be used instead of animals for testing. Animals make for better test subjects because they normally have shorter life cycles when compared to humans. The vaccines and medications that arise from tests performed on animals also benefit them in the long run. Without animal experimentation, we wouldn't have the vaccines for rabies, distemper, feline leukemia, tetanus, anthrax, and several others. So whenever a test on an animal is successful, the animal receives the rewards from this. Yes, many of the times the animal is inflicted with the condition on purpose, but once a cure is found from the studies, they are given the treatment. Although those against animal testing claim that the animals are always harmed during experiments, this is in fact false. Animal experimentation is highly regulated and many laws are already in place to protect the animals in the laboratories. Generally, in order to get correct and reliable test results, the scientists are required to treat the animals fairly and humanely to decrease the amount of stress an animal may be feeling. Therefore, in most research labs containing animals, they are in good hands and a humane environment is maintained. Even though there are extreme amounts of people that do not condone animal testing, the vast majority of biologists and the main largest biomedical health organizations in the United States support animal testing. A poll taken in 2011 by biomedical scientists proved that nearly 90% of them agreed that the use of animals in research is essential. The American Cancer Society, National Association for Biomedical Research, American Heart Association, and several more all support the use of animals within scientific research as well. When put into perspective, a relatively small amount of animals are actually used in research. People in the United States eat 9 billion chickens and 150 million cattle, pigs, and sheep annually. Yet we only use around 26 million animals for research, 95% of which are rodents, birds, and fish. The amount of animals used for research is also worth the price paid once several thousand lives are saved. In fact, 71 of the Nobel Prizes for medicine won in the last 103 years were given to scientists that used animals throughout their research. Those against animal testing may also claim that animals and humans are not similar, therefore the tests done on animals are a waste. But in fact, humans and animals are pretty much identical in multiple ways. The DNA of chimpanzees is 99% similar to that of humans, and the DNA of mice is 98% similar to that of humans. Therefore, tests run on chimps, mice, and others not mentioned are actually extremely helpful when testing for human product purposes. The main complaint by those against animal use in laboratories, though, is the fact that the animals are not adequately cared for or treated humanely. The use of animals is heavily regulated with laws enforced by the government. Some of these laws include that research animals must be provided with shelter that follows minimum housing standards, such as the right sized enclosure, recommended temperature, access to clean food and water, and etc. Veterinarians must regularly inspect the animals and their living conditions. Each research facility must set up an institutional animal care and use committee that will approve all proposals to use animals for experimentation. The IACUC will be responsible for enforcing humane treatment of animals. And lastly, research facilities funded by the U.S. Public Health Service must comply with these policies on humane care and use of laboratory animals imposed by the PHS. It has been recognized that faces of the public and the scientific research labs mentioned before support animal testing for medical purposes and the development of new drugs for diseases, but are actually against it for cosmetic testing. So even though you may be against animal testing on cosmetic or beauty products, there is plenty of evidence as to how animal testing for medical purposes has improved our daily living. Whether you like to admit it or not, it is obvious that animal research benefits all living species and allows us to live happier, healthier, longer lives.